Hey guys, daskro here. I have a video that is going to be a bit different than what I usually do, but I'm a bit interested in this topic, and maybe you guys are, let me know. This is a topic about a recent news article about how that Sega is suing the now defunct THQ to the tune of $940,000 in relation to payments that Steam paid THQ after their bankruptcy. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, wait a minute. THQ went bankrupt. They don't have any money. What's the deal? Well, before I go into this, first and foremost, I'm not an attorney. I have not passed the bar. I am not giving financial or legal advice in this, nor am I making any declarations of what the law should or shouldn't be. So don't take any of what I say as a recommendation from me. Let's get right into this, though. So, for those that don't know, THQ was a developer that did Company Heroes 2, which is the game that we see right now, as well as Company Heroes 1, Warhammer 40k, Dawn of War, a few other games of that nature. And on December 19th of 2012, they filed for, I believe, Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And in this, bankruptcy is sort of an interesting deal when it comes to corporations. When a corporation goes bankrupt, what it means is that they do not have enough cash on hand to pay their obligations to their various creditors that they owe money to. And it's typical for businesses to actually have a lot of liabilities, a lot of money owed, but also have a lot of cash coming in or assets. And it's about leveraging those assets to pay for those given liabilities in good time, and that's how a good business is operated. Well, when you run out of cash, as in the actual stuff in the bank account, or cash and cash equivalents, which would be like bonds and stocks and things like that, that are easily converted to cash, you can't pay it, you got to go bankrupt. And at this point, you can't pay off all your obligations to your creditors, and you have to go through a bankruptcy, which first and foremost begins with sort of an order of protection or order of restraint. It's essentially an order that the court comes in and says, hey, this entity cannot pay all its obligations, and so we are going to cease all transactions that are currently going through. All the creditors will no longer be able to seek a verdict within a court of law in attempt to recover their debt, and instead will have to get in line and be paid as the company essentially gets liquidated. Liquidated means converting all the assets into cash so that they can pay off all the debt that's owed to them. And when this takes place, it's very orderly. You actually have a trustee that is responsible for the orderly liquidation of a corporation. In this case, THQ's management was also the trustees, which isn't uncommon, but it's a bit suspect sometimes. And in this, they have to identify what all the assets and liabilities are, who is owed what money, what priority those creditors are owed. So, for instance, if they owe money to the government in the form of taxes, those get paid first, along with administrative fees associated with executing the bankruptcy, the accountants, the lawyers, things like that, followed by those that have secured claims, which are essentially claims that are backed up by an asset. So if you're a homeowner, you use your home as collateral to get that mortgage. And if you stop paying your mortgage, the home then becomes a property of the bank. That's what's called a secured liability. And as such, when we go to the unsecured world, these unsecured claims, these are essentially claims that aren't backed up by any particular asset. They're just money owed. So if you owed money to the utility company, if you don't pay, they're not going to take your home because it's not part of that agreement. They'll have to instead file a claim within a small claims court, depending on the size, or a larger court, and be able to then try to get some of their money back, reclaim it. And then finally, at the very last type of people that are deserved or that get money out of this would be the equity holders, the actual shareholders of the company. with very, very few exceptions, most of the time, the equity holders don't actually get anything. They get nothing because they owe so much money that even with liquidating the company, it can't get anything. And they'll liquidate everything. And so when Enron went under almost over a decade ago, they were selling everything you could imagine. They were selling televisions, they were selling office chairs, they were selling cell phones. Everything that was in the office they were selling in order to raise money to pay back all the debts that were owed. So THQ as a gaming company had a number of games that were being sold at any given time. And in this, they had a bunch of Steam sales. They were selling pre-orders for Company Heroes 2, amongst other games, in a well before December 19th. And unlike, for instance, trying to sell an item on Craigslist, when an item that is a virtual good that is sold on Steam, the publisher doesn't actually get money right away. They get notification that it's been sold, and they can identify that as deferred revenue or revenue that is to be recognized later when the delivery of the good takes place. But they recognize the deferred revenue, and they also recognize an accounts receivable. Accounts receivable is a fancy word to say money owed to the company by someone else. And then in a few months, Steam will then write a check or direct deposit, actual cash, into THQ's bank account, and then they'll reduce that amount of accounts receivable commensurate with the amount of cash added, and then suddenly we now have cash in the bank account, and that's great. And when that cash gets in the bank account, the THQ management can do whatever they want with it because it's their money, it's their choice on whether they want to invest it into Company Heroes 2, or they want to pay their employee salaries, or they want to pay for their life insurance, or whatever it may be. It's their decision. But when bankruptcy takes place, it changes quite a bit. All the assets are identified, be it assets such as accounts receivable of money owed to the company, or actual cash on hand. It's identified for the purposes of liquidation. When liquidation takes place, in this case, THQ actually sold a number of different parts of their company, be it intellectual property in certain games specifically, or certain studios outright. They're trying to sell this at auction so that they can raise money. And Sega paid for Company Heroes 2 and Relic and all the assets and liabilities associated with that title and that studio for the tune of $26.6 million in mid-late January. When this took place, Sega would get all the assets and liabilities and intellectual property and all the revenue generated and all the cash generated at the time from the point of bankruptcy to the point of the auction. And what happened was that while THQ was in stewardship of the trustees, they were still selling copies of COH2 on Steam. And as such, they were not only generating new deferred revenue, because more Steam sales mean you're generating more deferred revenue and accounts receivable, which means that you know that there's more money that's going to be coming your way because a transaction took place. But Steam was also paying THQ a lot of cash, in this case, $508,000 to THQ after December 19th. As in, of these payments that were made, 508,000 of them happened after December 19th. And as for what Sega is saying while these deferred revenue that was created, or these pre-orders that were done on Steam, may very well have happened before December 19th, but the asset, which was the accounts receivable, existed and had a certain amount on December 19th, and as such, we are entitled to that asset because we bought it for $26.6 million, along with everything else associated with Company Heroes 2. And just because THQ received the cash payment for those accounts receivable post-December 19th doesn't mean that THQ can do whatever they want with it. In fact, just the opposite. They have to set it aside because that is considered part of the asset bundle that they buy at auction. And because of this, they're taking them to court because it seems as if that Sega didn't fully realize that this is all this money that was owed they never got back. So when they got the actual books, the accounts, and saw this discrepancy that they had this accounts receivable and that it was outstanding, but then they contacted Steam and found, oh no, it's already been paid, and we never got a paycheck because it went to THQ instead of Sega. Well, after the court had ruled that the bankruptcy was taking place, that's where Sega is crying foul. And this, I know that this may seem very strange because if you don't usually think about the mechanics of how a business operates from an accounting perspective, if you don't have an accounting background, this all may seem rather foreign. I actually have an accounting background. I don't practice accounting, but that's what I went to school for originally. And in this, it's sort of an interesting nuance because it's either when Sega buys that set of assets and liabilities, they actually have all that deferred revenue that goes along with it, which is considered a liability in this respect. And the liability will actually be much larger than the assets, even though that you're supposed to have a no pun intended balanced balance sheet where that assets equals liability plus shareholder equity or stock, that kind of thing. But and the reason why that there would be a problem with that would be that they had all these Steam sales for COH2 that happened well before the bankruptcy. So they're going to have this much larger liability relative to their assets. And as such, when Sega buys that asset bundle, in this case Relic, they actually have to write off a lot of that as simply a loss because they still have to deliver those goods. If you bought COH2 before December 19th, it's not like you're not going to get it. You'll still get it, but you're not. But Sega is not actually going to reap any of the cash from that because THQ used it prior to December 19th. That's at its core what this is about. It's a very interesting situation, especially considering that THQ already sold off all of the assets that they thought that they could liquidate to generate cash. And I'm guessing by this point, which is almost 5 months later, that they've already distributed most of that cash to the creditors from priority to unsecured, or from priority to secured to unsecured, all the way to the equity holders. And so I don't know if they're actually going to get any money. THQ may actually still have some money here. I don't know from a legal perspective whether or not they can go after the other creditors that were owed, that were unsecured creditors, for instance, where and say, hey, even though that you already paid, the money actually should have gone to us. That $508,000 should have gone to us. And I know there's two numbers here: the $941,000, which simply represents all the various revenue generated by COH2 over this time period, but of which only $508,000 is actually paid to THQ after December 19th. What this really, the reason why they put $941,000 is, one, they want to put it for the matter of public record because they view that it's an asset that is owed to them because they bought it. But the fact of the matter is that the cash was already burnt away, and this is really more of a bookkeeping exercise to recognize that that is what that revenue or deferred revenue was supposed to look like. But on the other hand, that $508,000, I think they're asking this to be a priority debt that is owed to Sega, and that's because it really was cash generated after December 19th. And as such, it should have been set aside along with all the other things associated with COH2 and Relic, such as the Relic servers, the Relic office chairs, all the other assets associated with that need to be bundled, because when Sega paid that amount of money for it, $26.6 million, they assumed that everything associated with it was in there. So that's where all this whole thing comes from. Will Sega actually get any of the money? I don't think so, but I don't know enough about at what stage THQ is at within their bankruptcy proceedings to know whether or not they even have cash or not. They very well may. At the end, we're going to have to see how it goes, but this is a very interesting case because the game was still selling copies well after the bankruptcy, and as such, how do you deal with, from both a legal and an accounting perspective, the recognition of that deferred revenue and the collection of those accounts receivables converted into cash during a bankruptcy proceeding? I don't know enough about bankruptcy proceedings to know what the right way is, but I'd imagine that you would have to hold it off no different than anything else, or else you'd have a situation where Sega buys the Relic Studios for 26.6 million, and then THQ frantically begins to sell off all of the Relic computer servers, or all their high-end graphics cards or CPUs or something else around those lines. That seems a bit as an absurd example, but if the trustees can liquidate other aspects of the assets within that original auction set, then that opens up sort of a can of worms in that respect. Nevertheless, though, if you guys like this, let me know. If you guys didn't like it, or think that I'm wrong, or that I need or if you actually are a lawyer or someone who is a CPA. I'm not a CPA either. Maybe you can chime in on this. I'd be actually really curious to know. Nevertheless, I hope you guys enjoyed this footage, COH2 footage. I may talk more about these topics in the future, maybe. I really just want to talk about this one because it really sort of piqued my interest. Nevertheless, thanks for tuning in. See you guys later.
Field gun standing by. We are ready to go.
Anti-tank gun is ready for action.
And that is why I am in the infantry.
Yes, comrade.
Enemy forces are neutralizing a sector.
AT gun here. Conscript
We
here.
need to re-establish our supply lines.
Field gun standing by.
Supply sector under attack.
Da, товарищ.
AT gun here.
The sector is at risk.
Man down!
We have an isolated sector.
Watch out for that tank! Enemy contact!
Our command post is under assault.
Yes, comrade, we're under attack!
Conscripts ready and willing.
Engineers under attack by enemy armor! They see us! Capture for destroy! That means you, Dieter! Do you need something?
Soldiers ready. Hold this ground for the people.
Under fire.
Ready! Field gun standing by. AT gun here. Taking fire! What do you need? They've opened up on us! Under attack! Enemy contact! We're under attack!
Fire incoming. Awaiting orders.
They've opened up on us! Yes, comrade. We have incoming! Down! Taking fire! Yes. Do you need something? Enemy contact! Yes, comrade. Put down your tools and get behind something!
Armor is engaging us.
The enemy has taken our supply sector.
The enemy has our range!
Replacement.
being shot at!
The enemy is encroaching on our territory. A squad of infantry has been killed. Death before retreat.
Show no mercy!
Units awaiting orders. Incendiary artillery is now available.
Enemy contact!
Awaiting command! They've opened up on us!
Ready!
Brave infantry have made the ultimate sacrifice.
We are ready! Man down!
Enemy forces are attempting to capture our territory. Enemy forces capturing supply sectors.
Fresh meat has arrived!
Area secure.
We are losing supplies to the enemy. 300 points stand between us and defeat. A sector has been cut off.
There are no cowards!
Yes?
Heavy tanks standing by.
Red Army, at your service.
Enemy forces are capturing our supplies.
We are taking losses!
Under attack. Fresh units on the field.
Secure.
Fuck me!
Field gun standing by.
I claim this for the Soviet Union. The enemy is taking what we have secured.
Attack! We took it. Enemy contact!
The enemy has cut off a sector. More units are here.
They've opened up on us!
Conscripts here!
What do you need?
Enemy infantry firing on me.
Enemy squad attacking!
IS-2.
Do you need something?
You have a need.
Taking fire!
The enemy is firing on my
Enemy
position.
open up on us! Awaiting command! Enemy aircraft! And armor contact!
Losing territory.
We are taking losses!
Taking fire.
This is not how I wanted to die!
We are under attack!
We are bleeding, comrades!
The sector is at risk. All of our troops have been lost.
Get support! Destroy! Open up on us!
Man down!
Yes.
Taking losses! Fall back!
Supply sector under attack. We are losing supplies to the enemy. We need to re-establish our supply lines.
Look out your tools and get behind something!
New units have arrived.
Replacements have arrived!
You need heavy armor support.
Your orders, comrade.
Awaiting orders. Engineer standing by. IS-2 here. Enemy forces capturing supply sector. You have orders? Yes.
Anyone dead?
The enemy is taking what we have secured. Awaiting orders.
Enemy contact!
IS-2.
Rifleman ready.
Heavy tank here.
Red Army, at your service.
Yes, comrade.
Soldiers ready.
Heavy tank standing by. IS-2 here.
Enemy squad is down. Objective secured. We will defend it to the death.
IS-2.
Da, товарищ.
We have incoming!
You have orders?
We are under attack! Grenade!
Only 200 points remain. Double your efforts.
No cowards here.
Field gun standing by.
Yes, comrade.
IS-2 here.
Soldiers ready. Squad replenished!
We have casualties! IS-2.
Gun here.
Supply lines have been cut.
Enemy tank firing on us! Taking fire!
The enemy is reduced to 200 points.
They've opened up on us!
We earned this territory! We will keep it!
We're under attack!
We are bleeding!
Enemy contact! They take us back! Enemy order!
Man down!
The enemy has taken our supply sector. Engine damage. Return secure. Yes. One infantry has been killed. Death before retreat. Heavy armor ready for action. Our territory is falling into enemy hands.
Engineer standing by.
We are losing territory.
Ready. Now belongs to us.
We are ready for action.
Sniper ready.
Enemy forces are capturing our supplies. You need heavy armor support.
Nations have their own 5-year plan.
Enemy forces are neutralizing a sector. We have an isolated sector.
Taking fire! Enemy contact!
The enemy is encroaching on our territory.
Under attack!
Under attack!
Watch out! Ready!
HFC crew is ready.
They've opened up on us!
It is now under our control. Shock troops have arrived. The enemy is taking what we have secured.
Taking fire!
shall be used to crush the enemy.
Tak. What is it?
Area secured. Supply sector under attack.
Soviet territory has increased. We have made contact with the enemy!
Enemy is engaging us!
Soviet soil!
Grenade!
They don't even have winter uniforms.
We have fallen to 100 points. Do not let this trend continue.
Watch out for that flamethrower!
Conscripts, now you can use Molotovs to burn those bastards. Engaged! Just one more! Ready! Engineers, report contact! Awaiting command! Ready! Get down! Grenade! You are showing weakness. We are down to 75 points. It is ours! Reporting engineer losses! We are taking losses! Yes? We have found the enemy! Waiting orders. We have secured the area. Enemy forces are attempting to capture our territory. Arsenal has engaged us. Heavy cavalry standing by. This is our territory now. Heavy tank here.
Enemy infantry is engaging us!
We are losing territory. Ready for action. The enemy has cut off a sector. We have been promoted. Yes. Enemy forces capturing supply sector. We are ready to go, comrades. Heavy tanks standing by. Watch out for that tank! Enemy forces are capturing our supplies. The enemy has killed another infantry squad. Reach your command. They've opened up on us! We're under attack! We are ready for action. Do you need something?
Comrades!
What do you want? Soviet territory has increased.
We need orders.
We have the point.
The enemy is encroaching on our territory.
The enemy has our enemy contact!
Under fire!
enemy is down to 100 points. Our headquarters is taking enemy fire.
Taking fire!
We are ready for anything.
IS-2 here.
Your predecessor